right, we do not have a intro for the Loco Hoops Report in here, but we are live with a special edition of the Loco Hoops Report because we are finally, at long last, I know it's way overdue, folks. We get it. We're going to do better next year, I promise. But we are finally ready to celebrate the top high school basketball players from the Lowcountry, Beaufort, Jasper, Colleton, and Hampton counties. I'm Justin Jarrett. We got Wes Kerr and Will White with us. Unfortunately, we were trying to get Rob Benson with us, get the whole crew together, but he's out on the road. It's still live period. He's out on the road with the ladies from H2 Loco doing damage and you know, making their list, taking names, winning games, and hopefully making a name for themselves. But we're going to talk about quite a few of those ladies tonight, as well as a few others from around the area, as well as the top guys. We got the top 40 boys and girls basketball players in the area that we're going to honor, as well as the top coaches and fellas. I know we got a little distance from it now. We went through that spring season and we got caught our breath a little bit this summer, but reflecting on this season, I mean, it really was a great time. We had a great time hanging out together in here, talking about it, and getting out in the gyms and seeing it. And Will, you're still living it week to week. You're still getting out there. But for Wes and I, we've had a little time to reflect on other things. But good to talk hoops again.
Yeah, it's great to have everyone together to just, after a few months away from basketball season, just taking some time to reflect, because we had some extraordinary talent on the court all year long. Brought them a couple state titles with that tremendous, title game between Christian Academy, Hilton Head Prep on the boys' side, Christian Academy doing their dynasty on the girls' court, and a couple of teams in the high school league making runs as well. Beaufort High with a stellar run like they have been doing all athletic season long, but that was a really fun team to watch, as well as those Estill and Wade Hampton squads. So of course now they'll be joining forces the Hampton County Hurricanes, but great to cover them in that final season for Estill and Wade Hampton. But you look across the board and looking at these teams, I mean, I was just impressed by the depth. It took a lot to get not just on the first team but the second team. I mean, it was very narrow, the margins between some of those spots, who would put on and then who would leave off at the next tier. It was certainly some difficult decisions were needed to sort these players accordingly, because talent just continues to take a couple steps up these last years. And I think obviously we've expanded our coverage area a bit, but still I think the talent is continuing to rise here throughout the local. And Will, I'm sure you agree with me on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking forward to some of these names, bringing these up, and then seeing what they're going to do in college, and then some who are just going to, just be like monsters on the high school hoop for the next couple of years. So it'll be fun and interesting to hear what you guys have selected.
Yeah. This is a kind of a reveal show, not only for the world, but for Will as well. He jumped in here to talk about it with us without having seen the teams. So we're getting like a true reaction. Wes and I put our heads together. We pulled together as many stats as we could. I mean, I'll be frank, there were some teams that they may not be represented here because we literally didn't see a stat all season. We tried to get some info and we couldn't. And so unfortunately we couldn't honor anyone from those teams because we just didn't know enough to know who belonged on there. It wasn't enough to justify taking someone off that we did have some stats on. So not every school we cover is represented, but for the vast majority are. And even some of the ones who aren't, the coach said, hey, look, we don't have, nobody should be taking somebody's spot on there from our team. So, so we do our best to try to be equitable and make sure everybody gets a little love. We understand we're comparing apples to oranges in some cases. Stats don't always tell the whole story. So there's a lot of eye test involved there. There's a lot of basing it off of all region and all state teams and things like that to start with. And then we just kind of take it from there. And, there are going to be snubs. There are always snubs. But I always remind you that in order to put someone else on, you've got to take someone else off. And that's a totally different argument, and so we have to talk about who's coming off if we're putting that guy on. And, there were a couple people that Wes and I talked about, like, that guy's got to be on there. But then we look at the numbers and we just couldn't justify taking somebody off for that person. So, you try to check your own biases a little bit through the process and try to get it as right as you can get it. And I will say, having done it by myself for a couple of years, it's a lot easier with at least somebody else to bounce it off of to kind of verify that you're going in the right direction. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start naming the All-Lowco team. We're going to start with the honorable mention girls. We got Amira Brown from Bluffton, Shandy Brown from Colleton County, Janiah Carter from Wade Hampton, Kayla Chisholm from May River. Boy, Willie, your crew is getting loud over there. Jaden Exley from Ridgeland, Janiah Farabee from Hilton Head, Eliza Galliard from Holy Trinity, Kyra Garvin, Wade Hampton, Armani Hutchinson from Battery Creek, Desiree Jenkins, Whale Branch, Casey Lang from May River, Lillian Lucas from Patrick Henry, Bryn Miller from Hilton Head Prep, Elijah Neal from Bridges, Emily O'Sullivan, John Paul II, the Patterson girls, Amani and Sine, not sisters, but cousins from Ridgeland, Harper Rice from Patrick Henry, Katie Rodney from Bluffton, Denilia Sally from Wade Hampton, Kadeja Smokes from Estill, and Lily Termini from JP2. And I mean, there's a lot of talent on this list, and there's a wide disparity here. There's a little bit of inclusion and equity happening here with some players who, went all out for their teams and had nice seasons that you put them on the same court with some of these girls, it would look a little different. But, some future stars, Amira Brown definitely going to be on a higher line on this list next year, you would think. And some other big-time players coming back. Janiah Carter at Wade Hampton, we'll see her at Hampton County this year. She's a really nice player. Farabee just got an opportunity at the next level. So what stands out to you here, fellas?
Yeah, I mean, certainly a wide range of names here when you look at this list. A couple of players who have, been there for a while and have kind of, made their name on some of these teams. You just mentioned Janiah Farabee, who's been here, for these last 4 years at Hilton Head High. And you just look at what she's done in terms of her leadership and just her electricity on the court and how important she was to the Hilton Head High team. Excellent shooter from the outside. She really got, improved a lot as a ball handler, as a facilitator, as a passer. So she kind of did a little bit of everything and provided a lot of leadership to the Hilton Head squad. And, that's someone who certainly you could make the argument to put higher. But when you look at some of these names we'll talk about later, it is tough to take some of those guys off. So certainly, very commendable what she did. And Katie Rodney, another one who's been a rock solid piece of that Bluffton team. You look at Maya Brown, certainly someone who's I think could see her name come up these lists in the years to come. A lot of promise there with Brown and that Bluffton team with Sequoia Hayward going into her senior year and a lot of stud athletes coming back on that Bluffton team. But it's a very deep list. Good to see a lot of different representation over there. You mentioned those Patterson cousins had a great season over there for Ridgeland. And you just go down the list of especially some of these Wade Hampton still players. I'm really excited to see play for Hampton County. So a lot of names, certainly all deserving some recognition. Will, just your overall thoughts on what you see here and some names you think that could stand out maybe in the future down the road that could have a chance of moving up?
So this is more Rob Wheelhouse is on the girl side, but of course, I got to see Amira Brown play. She's probably going to light it up in the next couple of years, and she's probably going to be a big star for Bluffton High coming up. What I did want to say is that, the honorable mention, I think it's a good list of because I've seen some of these girls play, and like Justin said, they're not going to fill the stats every night, but they're going to be glue players or doing the dirty work for you, rebounds, things like that. So I think everybody that you guys chose, they are deserving on this list.
Yeah, and some of them were stat sheet fillers. I mean, Harper Rice. I mean, she's a tremendous player playing at a small private school. So it's kind of hard to know. Yeah, what's Harper's numbers look like playing in 4A? It's hard to say, but she was an all area player. She was a standout player. She was one of the best on the court every night in the league she played in, and it is what it is. So, but yeah, you've got some role players on there. You've got some stars. You've got some future stars certainly, and we'll see who kept them off the third team here. We've got Rob's girl and all of our girls. We love Lyric Jones from Estill, Quinn Wilson from Buford, just an absolute baller going to play soccer at Georgia Southern. Michaela Washington from BA. She's going to play at Limestone, right? Jada Grayson, Hilton Head Christian, also playing at the next level at Shaw, I believe, correct? Yes. Brady Mahoney from John Paul II. She's still got time left to go, as does Lyric, but the other three are going to play at the next level in one sport or the other. And this is the third team, fellas.
It just goes to show once again how deep it is here, especially on the girls' side of the Lowco. I mean, you could put these 5 out, and they're going to do some damage on a high school court. You got the size rebounding of Bree Mahoney and the elite sharpshooting of Michaela Washington, who has been 4-year stud over there at BA. And awesome to watch her whole career over there. And Jada Grayson, a really important role player for that state championship team the last 2 years for Real Net Christian Academy, certainly deserving of some big time recognition there. And then Lyra Cho is the real deal. I have not been able to watch her in person yet. I'm excited to hopefully eventually, because she is, from what I heard, she's a true very, very talented.
Man, I'm trying to imagine her and Amira in the same backcourt, because that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick what they got going with Lowco.
I'm just like everybody on this list. I mean, it's like you look at this list and you're like, well, who's the second and first team? Like I would have put Mahoney in, maybe second team, but like I'm sure the girls that are coming on these next 2 lists are gonna be, you're like, yeah, they're deserving. So.
Well, and it is splitting hairs a little bit. I mean, you could definitely make the argument for Mahoney for second team, and I think we kind of went round and round, and and couldn't decide. And so let's look at what that second team looks like here, because it's pretty strong. You got Nikea Mitchell from Wade Hampton. She was the Region Player of the Year going to Salkehatchie. Kiara Wilson from Battery Creek, who had a tremendous senior year. Hope she gets an opportunity at the next level. Talia Hayward from BA going to Coker. Abby Peduzzi, who everybody knows what she does, nomad of the season at Hilton Head Christian Academy. And Jalasia Polite from Estill, who was the Region Player of the Year as well, and is going to play at the next level too. So, again, Jalasia versus Mahoney, that was a tough call. That was probably one of the tougher calls on the girls' side, I think. And for me, it was just about physicality. Jalasia was just so physical and so tough inside. And I think Brady's an excellent player. She's more skilled than Jalasia in a lot of ways. But for me, as picking that center spot, and, I mean, it's not a tiebreaker per se, but it's almost a tiebreaker. The senior gets the nod. The other one's got another year next year, so let's get the senior the nod.
Don't fight him, JP. Too. Don't add him.
I mean, it's just the senior gets the nod. Poor girl also, she did yeoman's work inside the paint, man, and she played in a league where they got beat up. And that 1A league, it is so physical. And I just, for me, it was you put them on the court together. In the same role, in that role in the trenches, I think Jalasia's got a little bit of an edge, but Brady's still developing. She's not done yet, So that's your second team there. Any additional thoughts there, fellas?
Yeah, I like how you mentioned the physicality. I mean, you go beyond what you see in the stat sheet and you just look at the eye test and how she plays with that extra level of scrappiness, which says a lot when you talk about those. The effects that you don't just see in the box score, but other impacts of the game as well. And Abby Peduzzi, another one who you can mention, did all the little things well, including putting in the ball in the basket in some important times throughout these, especially those last years. She was dynamic as a freshman. She only got better. Her leadership, obviously essential throughout her career at Hilton Head Christian Academy. And I cannot think of a more impressive all-around athlete and someone who did as much for her school athletic program and as a whole for Abby Peduzzi, an absolute built winner gamer. Whatever you call her out on the floor, she's going to do whatever it takes to produce, and she is going to go to whatever lengths she needs to get that done. So, someone who has certainly adopted that winning culture mentality from the start and has carried that with her throughout her career at Hilton Head Christian Academy, one of those special breeds who coaches dream of having players like Abby Peduzzi, and she certainly provided the extra spark in so many different ways. And she could finish close to the rim. She could power over a couple of tough big defenders to finish the rim. So she kind of did a little bit of everything. A nice shot and played some tough defense as well. Talia Hayward, another veteran of that BA team, who it seemed like they were always in contention in these last few years, and Talia really rose these last few years. I think she really improved, especially as a playmaker. But her defense has always been something that I was really impressed. Like, she could shot out of the cannon, swipe the ball away, and then run to the basket. Really good in the fast break. someone who I really enjoyed watching. Kiara Wilson, I love that you put her up here because she had a really underrated career. One of the better players I've seen in this area, just with her level of production and the way she carried herself on the court. Really outstanding young woman and certainly deserving of her spot here on the second team. And then there's Wade Hampton Estill girls, certainly showing out, and really excited to see what Wade Hampton does over there in the future. But this is a very, very solid second team.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the list that I know we got coming, just because I've seen the names, this is like these girls would definitely be first team like any other 4 years or whatever. Just what's coming next is pretty good. They're really good.
Yeah, and we will get to the first team after the ad break, but first we're going to shift over to the boys side of things. We're saving the first team and the superlatives. You got to wait till after you hear from our sponsors for that, but we will shift over to the boys side of things now with the honorable mention list, and we've got Gavin Blocker from May River, Samari Bonds from Beaufort, Brandon Bryant from Bluffton, Ponce Capers from Ridgeland, Makai Davis, Wade Hampton, Levi Dyer from Holy Trinity, Forest Ferry, Patrick Henry, Quayshawn Fields from Whale Branch, Kanye Freeman from Battery Creek. He had that monster first half against Beaufort. Ben Frey from Hilton Head Prep, Mikeem Gant from Colleton County, Xavier Garvin from Estill, Andrew Helms from Prep, Angelo Lewis, Estill, Jordan Nelson Davis, Hilton Head High, Dietrich Schuford, Thomas Hayward, Reese Stewart, Hilton Head High, Bradford Thompson from Whale Branch, Christian Tilton from JP2, Ja'Cory Walters, Hilton Head High, Nick Williams, Colleton County, LaRon Wright from Whale Branch, and QJ Young from Bridges. And, I was typing this list in for the graphic today, guys, and I'm like, holy cow. There's a bunch of guys on this list that I love, love, and they're on the honorable mention list. It's crazy.
That's Gavin Blocker. He can light it up. Reese Stewart, he's a bucket from downtown. I love the way Nelson Davis plays point guard. Probably my favorite player on this list is probably the right. It's probably right. Yeah, he can get after it, man.
Good. He's good.
We saw the game, and he once he gets going, he's hard to stop.
Yeah. Kanye Freeman having a couple of monster games, as you mentioned this year. Yeah, he was fun to watch. Mikeem Gant, not a bad player at all from Colleton County. Really? That was a fun team to watch these last few years, and I expect Colleton, to be right in the mix again. But you look at what Mikeem Gant has done, an excellent shooter, solid ball handler, someone who was an important fixture of that Cougar team these last few years, and you look at some of these Hilton Head players, Jordan Nelson Davis, Ja'Cory Walters, some key pieces over those Seahawk teams. Reese Stewart was really fun to watch. He could light it up from deep. And then you see a couple of multi-sport guys who have done on the football field, and also athletes on the basketball court like Bradford Thompson, Christian Tilton. And then some of those role players at the guard spot with Andrew Helms and Ben Fry were important contributors. I thought they kind of – They got better as the season went on, as their careers have been going on, and kind of rose the challenge of what they had to do to get to that state championship game and come out on top. And then Xavier Garvin, Angelo Lewis, a couple of those strong pieces from that really good Estill team that made a nice run to the lower state championships. Amari Bonds, who also found a way to shine in the playoffs with that electric speed, good defense as well. Picking up some steals and scoring at the other end. It's another very deep list. And, of course, Gavin Blocker, give credit to him. What a great career he had at May River. I mean, absolute deadly shooter from deep, but just a great person on and off the court, a great leader of that team. And, someone who I really enjoyed following these last few seasons. So there's a couple of really talented names on here, but as we said, it is deep as well on this boys side, and it was really tough to kind of make the distinction on the honorable mention versus the third team, because we had to leave a bunch of solid talent off that next tier.
Shoot, had to leave some pretty good stuff on the cutting room floor when we cut it to 40. I mean, it was rough, man. Like I almost lost sleep over some of them. Like, man, geez. Do I leave this guy off, or do I not get anybody from that team on? It was really tough. with the guys. I mean, just the girls. I think the top level of the girls is better right now, but I think we just have some programs where the guys are pretty decent and the girls are lagging behind. So I think when you start looking at the whole picture across the entire area, it gets harder to get to 40, get it down to 40 on the guys than the girls. Even though the top talent.
I just think it's probably a wider gap on the
girls
side than it is on the boys.
A little bit. But hey, we got a friend waiting in the green room to make the guest list complete. We got Robbie B. What's up, Robbie?
Hello.
B?
You made it.
Hello. I'm back from dinner, guys. What's happening?
All right, outstanding. Well, we have revealed a good bit of the All-Lowco Hoops team, but you're here to see us through the rest of it, and we are in the guys realm right now, about to head into the third team here. So we'll take a look at who made our third team, and we got show favorite Dirty Harry Skinner from Hilton Head Christian, Kane Eanes from Hilton Head Prep, Jalen Linder from Bluffton, Noah Altman from Patrick Henry, Antonio Banner from Thomas Hayward. We got several guys in here who were close to or averaging a double-double. Pretty solid crew we're coming out with here. And a little skis of love on the third team, I know. Noah Altman, though, man, that dude, he put up this year.
Yeah. I like Kane Eanes. Kane Eanes, I love his game, man. He's
That's a great backcourt.
Two-way player. I mean, dude gets after it. And then, of course, my boy Jalen Linder. He could probably be argued for the second team as well. I mean, he had a couple 30-point monster games and stuff like that. And sometimes he was, carrying Bluffton on his back.
Yep.
Yeah, he certainly could have been argued. We talked about the senior tiebreaker a little bit. Another one for me is that guy's already got his ticket in another sport. Like, let's pump up somebody.
He's first team on football.
Oh yeah, all the way.
That is a heck of a backcourt for a third team. Kane Eanes, really dynamic guard who, started as more of that spot-up guy on the perimeter, but, the way he was able to carry himself and do a bit of everything, score from really all levels and also find ways to get open and get other teammates open. He really, grew by so many different leaps and bounds throughout his career, got over 1,000 points. And then just an extremely important piece of why Hilton Head Prep was able to get over the top this year and win that state title. Then Harry Skinner, I mean, my God, absolute showmaker over there for Hilton Head Christian Academy. I have to count my hand how many spectacular shots that he made at the buzzer. At least two of them against Hilton Head Prep, including one that state championship. Just Curry-esque magic. So I mean, that's someone who. We're going to have his.
He'll definitely be on the list a couple more years.
My man made 57 threes.
Yeah. 57 threes, and I think he shot over 40% or close to 40%.
Yeah, it was crazy. But let's take a look at the guys that were just ahead of them on the second team. We got Devon Allen from Devon, I believe is what he told me, from Wade Hampton. Love that kid. Tremendous point guard. Sully Gay from Beaufort, absolute bucket and goes hard all the time. You might know the next guy, Elijah White from Hilton Head Christian, and his teammate Isaiah Anderson, as well as Amarion Wilson from Bridges, previously at BA, and he had another great year, averaged a double-double over there. So what do you think about team number 2, fellas?
That's a good list, man. That's pretty tough to beat. Seriously, like you got Sully and Elijah. I mean, they both pretty much are like, two-way players that can play, inside-out wing guys. Isaiah's a double-double machine. Amari Wilson's a double-double machine. I didn't really get to see much of Devon Allen, but Devon Allen? But what I did see, like when I went up there to watch him play, speedy, smart with the ball, great defense, like just attacks on defense, and that's the kind of player I like. But yeah, that's a great list that you could put up against anybody. And if you're a coach and you got that 5, you're kind of happy.
Yeah, you got physicality with those 5, especially. You look at Isaiah Anderson, Amarion Wilson, Elijah White, who's and I'm sure you agree with this, Will, the way that he showed himself as the season went on and just the many facets that he grew to his game. He was really noticeable especially down the stretch. And, it was just great to watch him, just seize the moment a couple different times, in that regular season. And I expect him to continue that same mentality going forward. And you look at Amarion Wilson coming over there to Bridges Prep, and the way he was able to put up some big time numbers. 15.4 rebounds per game. That is tough to do at the high school level. 12 points. So really productive stat line over there, coming over to Bridges Prep and performing over there. And then Soli Gay, came over from BA to Beaufort High, and really developed some chemistry over there with Michael Dennison, and that with the Monsters Inc. was the tagline with him and Michael. Those two were partners in crime for sure. Those two knew each other really well in terms of where they were on the court, and just played a tough physical brand of basketball, and knew how to make some shots when they needed to, make the right decisions with the ball, and you just play confident basketball, especially in that postseason run. It was great to see what Soli Gay was able to do for that Beaufort High team. Devon Al, that's someone who I haven't been able to see as much as I would have wanted to, but he's a bunny star over there for Wade Hampton, who's certainly produced over there for the Red Devils, who wrapped up their final season going to the Hampton County Hurricanes. So, great to see a lot of love over there from that Wade Hampton and Estill group. So, looking forward to seeing what that team will do combined with Hampton and Estill. But this is a very strong second team. Rob, what are your thoughts on what you've seen so far, and how stacked has these teams been looking so far?
Pretty stacked, fellas. I mean, I think you're splitting hairs here. Like,
100%.
I mean, the third team, like, there's definitely guys I could easily sub out for second.
Oh,
and
sure.
Then,
yeah.
So it is what it is. I think some of it gets to be what their role is in their individual systems at their schools. Does the school get out and go? Does it statistically influence what they look like long haul? Or, is it primarily about the coach and their name more than the name on the jersey?
There's certainly some of that. There are victims of the system.
There's always victims of the system, right? So that's a thing. But I mean, there's not like debatable kids here. I mean, all these kids can go, and all of them, them, sort of have a place. Like, if you look at this team, the second team, I like it because essentially it makes sense. I mean, maybe Elijah right there is more like a third guard, right? But, But at the end of the day,
but you could roll those five out there, and they could actually play together.
That's
and we go for that. We do try to create that.
So okay, let me ask you this: is it predicated positionally or like impactfully?
Yeah. So there's gerrymandering. Gerrymandering. I mean, we go 2 guards, 2 forwards, 1 center, but we're trying to put the best 5 on the first team, the next 5 on the second team, and the next 5 on the third team. I mean, within reason. There's some gerrymandering. Elijah's really a guard for me, but he fit better on the All-Loco team as a forward.
For sure.
It's just there's some gerrymandering for sure.
Like Anderson.
Honestly, man, I'm not sure.
Anderson played center for most of the year for HACA, but he's a true forward. So
there's some gerrymandering, and I mean, so many teams play positionless at this point anyway that it's kind of irrelevant.
I'm not sure Elijah is not more of a guard than Sully in some cases.
Yeah,
so,
well, I mean,
I said they're interchangeable. That's interchangeable. That's why I said that.
What I like about Elijah, he does a bit of everything. He can score. He can find the open man. He can rebound.
He can
just a lot of consistently strong play on both ends of the court. And I like players who could do that. I like when guys can take up multiple positions, have that two-way game. And I'm sure you are proud of the way that he's kind of evolved as a multifaceted player who I think has a lot of potential on Hilton Head Christian Academy team that should be a contender once again next year.
Yeah, Elijah. I mean, he pretty much did whatever coach asked him this year. You know, he didn't have any complaints or whatever. So whatever coach wanted him to do, he was just trying to fit in with the team and not ruffle any feathers or anything like that. So hopefully, this year, he'll do more of the same, but just maybe more of an aggressive, putting the ball in the hole a little bit. Big stat about Isaiah, though, I did want to show him some love. He shot 63% from the field this year. Like, that's nice.
Very efficient.
I mean, he was really smart with the ball. He knew when he should take a shot and when he should kick it back out. And I thought he grew up a lot as far as his decision making went this year, playing that inside out game. But he was a really nice player this year. But let's take a quick break, fellas, and we'll come back after we hear from our sponsors and reveal the first teams and the superlatives here on the Lowco Hoops Report All-Lowco special.
Hey, Lowco sports fans. This podcast and all of our grassroots local sports content are made possible by support from community sponsors, including Mikkelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of Lowco Sports, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. Our original sponsors are still among our greatest supporters. Ryan and Tiffany Mikkelson are community pillars who will be in your corner no matter your legal needs. When you need legal representation, call on the attorneys who support Team Lowco. Call Mikkelson Law Firm. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, the official hospice provider of Lowco Sports, and the only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County. For more than 30 years, the committed, compassionate staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry have been there to ensure your loved ones find comfort, honor, and dignity at the end of life. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of Lowco Sports. Jan Lucas and his team provide thorough, detailed home inspections aimed to ensure everyone goes into the transaction with open eyes and confidence. Jan would rather reveal an inconvenient truth than look the other way and provide reassurances that could come back to burn the buyer in the long run. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and need an honest, reliable inspector, call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official sponsors of Lowco Sports. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. If your business or organization has a website and you're trying to figure out what SEO is, you need to call on Denise and Dave Sinkovich at DDS Web Design. They'll provide a free consultation and do all the behind-the-scenes work to boost your search engine optimization and get your website found online so you can take your business to the next level. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. American Wood Reface, sustaining sponsors of Lowco Sports. Does your kitchen need a facelift? Before you start picking out new cabinets, give Ben and the team at American Wood Reface a shot. They can reface your existing cabinets to overhaul your aesthetic without the hefty price tag and reimagine your kitchen at a price point you can manage. Be sure to tell them Lowco sent you because every referral helps support Lowco Sports. 4M Metals, sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports. Got metal? Your roof might need it. Metal roofing advantages include better energy efficiency, weather protection, longevity, a more aesthetically pleasing design, and the product is all green. So if you've been thinking about a new roof, go metal. Let 4M Metals be the difference in your roof. Jay's Barbershop. It's the talk of the town and the place to be in Ridgeland. If you need your ears lowered, head over to Jay's for a fresh cut and great conversation with good folks. And tell them Lowco sent you. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Lowco Sports. They sling some of the best pies in the Lowco, and my kids say the mac and cheese is the best around. Hungry? Hit up Local Pie, longtime supporter of Lowco Sports. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry, the official floor cleaners of Lowcosports.com. If your feet tell you your floors need cleaning, call on Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. They provide residential and commercial services, including cleaning carpet and area rugs, tile and grout, upholstery, curtains and drapes, mattresses, and more. But most importantly, they'll get those floors so clean, your feet will thank them. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. Hilton Head Prep is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we tell you all about the Dolphins' athletic exploits. But did you know it's also the #1 ranked private K-12 school in Beaufort County and ranks in the top 2.5% of schools nationwide? Visit hhprep.org to see what Hilton Head Prep has to offer. Beaufort Academy is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we love covering the Eagles. With a student-to-faculty ratio of 7-1 and an average class size of 14 students, Beaufort Academy could be just the educational solution you're looking for, with more one-on-one attention. BA has a strong history of working with the whole child to prepare each student for college and life. Check them out at BufordAcademy.org. Thank you to all of our sustaining and supporting sponsors for their support of Lowcosports.com. Go Loco!
And we are back here on the All-Lowco Hoops special, presented by Mikkelson Law Firm, Hospice Care, the Lowcountry, and Homegrown Home Inspections. You heard all of our sponsors for the 2022-23 season. We appreciate all of them, but I'm tired of listening to that same ad block, fellas. I'm excited to record a new one this week and get the 23-24 sponsorships going, so we can hear a different. I might have to put a different tune in there. I like grooving to it, but it's time to change it up.
Dude, the tune is great.
Season. Yeah, you like it? All right, maybe we'll keep rolling with the tune.
Yeah, you got the horn.
Have like two
horns,
different
and you got
ones,
you got like the horns, and you got like.
Yeah, it's triumphant.
Yeah,
it is. Jeff scratching in it.
I do enjoy it. It's a good little tune, but we have more work to get to here. People waded through the sponsors. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors for making all this possible to get to these first teams. So let's see if you're feeling bitter about not being on the first team. Let's see who kept you off there. Maybe you'll feel a little bit better after you see this. First team girls. We got Courtney Campbell from Hilton Head Prep, Devin Yard from Hilton Head Christian, Takoya Hayward from Bluffton. See, we did some gerrymandering. Linda Young from Hilton Head High and Morgan Scott from Hilton Head Christian Academy. But again, even though we did some gerrymandering, you could roll these 5 out there and you could do some damage.
This is one loaded sorting 5.
How did you gerrymander there?
Takoya is not really a forward. I mean,
she absolutely plays it in AAU.
She's a 3 for me. I mean, she is for me, but in high school ball, she's not.
She's a 3 everywhere, pretty much at this point.
So so we didn't gerrymander. Our gerrymandering is done with a purpose. Let's say it.
What about Morgan? Morgan's a forward, right? Or is she more center?
Yeah, she's a 4, but look at her shot chart. She's a 5.
Yeah.
Literally on Hilton Head Christian's huddle and their shot charts for the season, she has 1 shot outside of 4 feet.
Yeah, it
was in the state championship game, up by like 22.
And in reality, like you don't have to play a center anymore. Yeah. You can play 2 forwards and 3 guards, or 2 guards and 3 forwards. It doesn't really matter.
Definitely becoming more of a positionless game, but I'll tell you one who kind of sticks out to me. Maybe I've seen her a little more, but someone who deserves more attention is Linda Young. I mean, absolute freak on the glass. The way she follows her shots and just finds a way to put the ball in the basket, and just that effort that we choose here to get to the boards, outwork defenders. I mean, that is a special talent, and just continue to take step after step to keep upping incredible craft with that rebounding game and just overall athleticism to get to loose balls and really command herself out on the court. But yeah, this is an absolute incredible 5, but especially with Courtney Campbell and what she did at Hilton Head Prep and the numbers that she put up, and you just figure if the team had a little bit more talent, across from her or at the forward side of things, her assist numbers could certainly be skyrocketed through the roof. Just the way she sees the court, by the way she handles herself, her vision, her passing, and an absolute sharpshooter from deep as well. So it's been fun to watch her, and she has certainly done a good job of carrying that Hilton Head Prep team, and just to in games that they maybe don't have as much of a shot to be in, she let them hang around this year with just an exceptional offensive play. And Devin Yard, showmaker on the offensive side. She's started to do a lot more with her game. The quickness, the speed out there on the floor is just a game changer. A game breaker for the teams that she has gone up against. The way that she has continued to work herself, not just in the season, but during the off season into travel ball. She's been a workaholic. She's been a multi-sport star. I mean, every time I see her name up there in the headlines, it's not just for basketball, but for soccer, and for she continues to make sure she puts in as much work as possible, and then just the pure talent on the court is something special. And she has a chance to do something really extraordinary. I mean, she's already won a good number of state titles over there. She's won 3 or 3 or 4. Was she on there the year prior?
I lost track.
She got 4.
Yeah, 4.
She got 4.
She can go for 5 this year. That would be something crazy.
Well, she got a soccer team too, right? And I think she won the title in cross country.
Yep.
Yeah, I think she's got one behind Abby or something, right? Or like right there.
She's had a pretty good time over there.
She's got 2.
You know what's cool?
Cross country.
And she's like a 4.9 student or something like that. Like,
you know what's really cool?
Yeah,
USCV's offered like 3/5 of this team already, right? That's good. That's cool. That's cool.
Well, I mean, what I like about it is like, I
think they've offered our player of the year too. I believe. I don't remember for sure.
They did.
I like that both of the guards are like really smart. Okay. They're always going to make the right play.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Then you got.
Can you imagine if Courtney got to play the 2 with Devin at the 1? Well, I mean, she probably does, right, Rob? Like.
No. Well, I mean, honestly, like, because
that's fun.
In that scenario, Courtney'd be the 1, and Devin would be the 2 because Devin's like a slash and burner. Yeah. She's got that like down.
Courtney's got such good vision. She would see that so.
Always makes the right play, man. Like
Courtney's quintessential with the 1. I mean, she's like old school throwback. She's she's.
But if you go with the cutter, she'll pop it.
Koya's been doing some big things this summer too.
Who?
Morgan's
Koya.
Oh yeah. Koya's out there, man. She's on the circuit and doing well, and like her team's pretty good. We've seen her a bunch on the road. You know what's great about a couple weeks ago we were at Run for the Roses, and like we were in a tight game versus a Texas squad, and it was packed. And I guess we have this thing where I guess Keenan's rolling out a boombox like Bluetooth to all of our warm-ups.
Yeah,
so we're bumping tracks in the middle of like warm-ups, and so we kind of draw a crowd, I think, almost because of it, which is sort of cool. But Koya brought her entire crew over, and they sat there and they just like rallied behind us, and she's been awesome on the road. We've seen her a bunch. She's been baseline for us a bunch of times with 14U, like cheering on Amira the whole time. So like it's all been love out there, and she's done very well for herself, and hopefully and I just told her to go to the wall on Twitter a little while ago. She got 1 left. Let's get it.
Yeah.
So I mean, so it is what it is. Yeah, she does, but she's playing 3 for them. She's not in a huge scoring role. It's sort of more reminiscent of like what it'll be moving forward, where she's asked to stop people defensively, make a good pass, get some junk here and there offensively, but it's not like a green light. So it's different, but she's done well with it,
Yeah.
And I mean, you talk about she can stop people, man. Like she plays defense, she gets after it. She's fast, great defender.
Especially if she doesn't also have to carry the team at the other end.
Right.
That's going to be a big thing for her at the next level, to not have to be it on both ends.
And that's like a big thing in general, right? So like if you look at a kid like Devin's numbers, like we laugh because it's really funny because my kid has sort of assumed a lot of a similar responsibilities just in a much younger bracket, right?
Right.
And
Baby
so
Devin.
And well, the thing is this is her first season doing that. Like she's always been different, like sort of like a shooting kid and whatever. But now and it's so funny because we've gone through now a whole March through July thing, and the appreciation for the load that a kid like Devin carries, always guarding the best player on the other team, always in charge of tempo, pace, making the right decision, when to back it out, when to reset, recognizing what defense they're in and calling the proper play accordingly. Like it's a lot, man. You have to be responsible. You're the first person to get the ball, to break the press, so that really will affect your numbers tremendously if you're doing that much for your team. So that's what Koya does for Bluffton right now, and certainly what Devin does, for Hilton. But here's the thing: it's like the old Kentucky thing, like an early Calipari. You're not bad having a team with this many point guards on it, really, right? Like all you're gonna do is make the extra pass and be better. So, this is a good list right here.
Yeah, and then I want to Linda Young. She's probably my favorite girl player in the area. She's just I know she's like a tweener, but she can pretty much do it all. She'll bring it up. She'll play pose. She'll shoot. She'll pass it off. She'll play defense.
She's fearless.
She lights it up, and I've seen her a couple times this summer. She's out there practicing with the boys, trying to get better. So I'm expecting big things from her this year as well. Morgan as well. I haven't seen her much on the road. I'll defer that one to Robbie, but she's always gamer. She's a gamer. She's always scoring, always in the mix with something, getting rebounds and everything like that.
She's another one who knows her role and is she'll do what she needs to do for the team.
I'll tell you, for us, man, I think it's people defer to what is easy because that's what's effective. And in high school, you're trying to get wins and losses. We have a different MO, right? We really just need to get kids seen in the position they're potentially going to play, right? So with Morgan, like I said before, she has that shot chart at Christian where it's all inside of 4 feet. With us, we encourage her to shoot threes. We encourage her to shoot, from the elbow. We encourage her to shoot, face up. I will tell you flat out, we were in a game in the May live period, and Morgan got the ball 19 feet from the hoop, ripped left, dribbled left, and tried to finish left to win the game, went high off the glass. And, you just see that kind of growth, and you're like, wow. I wish more kids were put in a position where they could show, as opposed to trying to get W's, right? So Morgan's more skilled and has more applicable uses at the next level than we've seen locally.
Absolutely.
And she actually is a pretty, I wouldn't say proficient shooter, but she's an accurate shooter. So, but the thing is, you're never going to take away from Morgan 14U, 15U, 16, 17. It doesn't matter. High school ball. She's just a bear on the glass. She doesn't lose tie-ups. Any tip drills, she's going to win. If she clamps it with another kid, the other kid's in jeopardy of losing digits. It's one of those things where we laugh about it, and we're blessed because with us we have one in every bracket like that. So it's like mini Morgan, like that kind of stuff. But that stuff, man, you can't. I mean, that was the difference last year, right? So
it's all want to.
Well, I was out with Cal. We have a Calvary kid on it. I was out, with their parents yesterday, and essentially they're like, "Yeah, you guys killed us twice this year, meaning Christian." And I was like, "Absolutely," but the thing is that they just couldn't deal with Morgan or Paduzzi, right?
Yeah.
There's no dealing monsters with that. Because then the
physicality it just overwhelms.
Well, what happens when you have these guards that can get off what they want when they want to, but then when they spray it, to the backside or they miss long, there's these kids that are just gonna suck it up, and give them extra shots. So it's hard to win when you're shooting 3 times. I mean, it's hard to lose when you're shooting 3 or 4 times more than the other team.
100%. So, well, let's turn the page here and look at the fellas. The first team boys. Isaac Gray from Wade Hampton, huge fan. He's getting an opportunity too. He's going to a 2-year school somewhere, right? Caden Turner, Spartanburg Methodist, I believe. Caden Turner from Hilton Head Christian, still got more time in high school. Josh Goodman from Wade Hampton, so excited about his future. Michael Dennison from Beaufort, of course, going to play football at MIT. And Kayvon Chisholm from Estill, really excited about his future as well at Wade Hampton. So pretty solid 5 there, fellas. Your thoughts?
That's a nasty 5, man. That's a nasty 5. And again, I mean, it's the same thing.
Again,
with
you can flip flop Goodman
and
Caden. They're the same guy.
So they're the same guy, and they actually played on the same AAU team for a little bit and then they were time, people wanted to showcase more things, so they went their separate ways. But I mean, they have a good relationship already, and yeah, they're basically the same guy. Dennison, monster on the glass. Kayvon Chisholm, double nightmare for people who don't know. They know him by the end of the game.
Oh yeah.
Gray.
And again, he's a football first guy.
Yeah.
Although Goodman's going to play football this year too. That's exciting to me.
Yeah, 6'5".
Wide receiver. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
And then Gray is nasty on the court, man. He's a coach's kid, point guard, quick, fast.
Got dog
bounce, man. He can jump too, man.
Serious dog.
Yeah. And Kane Turner, I mean, that's you look at some of those pieces coming back from the Christian Academy. A lot of guys who can do, whatever coach wants them to. They can spot the open man. They can hit an important shot, and they'll hustle back and play strong defense. Caden and such a great guy off the court as well. Just a great personality. He loves, playing with his teammates and find ways to, take that next step up. Just a great guy to, be a teammate of, just with his excitement, his passion, and just the way he performs out there on the court and brings so much energy. You can say that for a lot of guys in the Christian County team. And I think this could be a special year for that group now. After falling just short last year, I think they've got all the tools in the toolbox to get it done this year, but we'll see what happens. But, you look at Michael Dennison and Kayvon Chisholm, two beasts out there on the court. Dennison came into his own in that postseason run. Got to watch all their playoff games, and he was just a man possessed with the way he was able to rebound that ball and just come up with a lot of loose balls and big moments throughout that playoff run. I thought he controlled himself really well. He played some phenomenal defense, and he hit a couple big shots from pretty much everywhere to put Buford to the Elite Eight, I believe, of that Class 3A, which certainly I knew they had it in them, and certainly took a while to get adjusted with everything that we saw coming out of that football state championship and what Jeremy Huff did to get them to that point. He did a great job, and that core, of course, of Dennison Gay was a ton of fun to watch, but a couple others played a big role in how far that team ended up getting as well. And Kayvon Chisholm, I mean, just a dude out there on the football field and a dude on the court. That's a guy who I cannot wait to see in action this fall, and then we'll see if he can, take that same mentality back out onto the basketball court. But that guy is awesome, man. Just so proud of what he's done, and so proud of Estill team. I mean, you talk about a coach that believed in that group, a couple guys that just loved what they were doing, and just the passion of that entire Estill fan base in that playoff run was really fun to watch.
I'm gonna miss them chicken fingers, man. They're good.
Maybe they'll bring them down to Hampton County.
I'm gonna say they can probably come down the road, man.
They probably got the same ones at Hampton. I don't know if they're $1 each though. $1 each for them chicken fingers. That was so good. Yeah. No, that Estill playoff run was just so much fun, man. And shout out to those guys, Singleton and Livingston. They're headed to Edisto. So best of luck to them at Edisto. We'll still see them in region play against Hampton and Ridgeland.
So straight up, Dennison has the best revenue offer maybe in the area in the last 5 years. Like it's so interesting the way he parlayed his skill level in two sports into the most prestigious academic scenario you can imagine. Like that's how you play the game, folks.
Yep.
That's how you reverse engineer the situation, my friends. MIT.
Yeah. Who even knew they played football, fellas?
I did. I did because former Hilton Head Prep quarterback Michael Herman went to Rensselaer Polytechnic, and that's when I found out that MIT also RPI. I found out MIT also had one. Yeah. But that's what we're angling for in this household. We're looking for a baseball program at a prestige academic institution that isn't so worried about the being a top level baseball player. But
I mean that's what it is, man.
That's 100% what it is. And I forget where his brother James ended up going to school, but it was another situation for him where he could have played basketball somewhere without question, but
Absolutely.
the books outran the ball, and he chased the books wisely. So outstanding family.
Well,
yep.
no.
If you can do both, great.
Right?
But if it's one or the other, you got to follow the books.
As long as you're paying $0 for that next level, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, that's the dream right there. That's
heck, $0 isn't even it. At MIT, you take those 70, 30, 50, 50s. So that's how. If you have the whereabouts, that's one you take a loan for, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like there's
I don't know how much MIT costs.
It doesn't matter, dude.
You're coming out
of matter, bro. They're making like $250 coming out first year.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're good. Like that's an end game scenario. That's the same thing as Devin, though, right? Like Devin's
just
that way.
The alumni base is worth the tuition. Like
right.
I mean, there are certain schools that that will do you right by virtue of connection, right? I mean, and that's sort of what, and that's what we, like on the girls' side, that's what we look for with Devin too. Like Devin is one of those who is, and I mentioned the 70-30s and the 80-20s and all that. Like at the end of the day, these higher end academic institutions, they don't give scholarships. Right. They give grants. So the grant gets to be based off of your academic prowess, your athletic prowess, and like a need situation, right? How much do you need it? Can you afford to pay whatever, So like that's a Devin thing. So like Devin visits Columbia right after the live period in a week, you know?
Nice.
And so it's official visit. So like those sorts of, if you can parlay this Lowcountry basketball situation, football situation into something that's that fruitful, lifelong, God bless, man.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah Hayes, Battery Creek, former AD, played at Battery Creek and then went on and played at Brown and, got that Ivy League education, came back as the AD and now working at the South Carolina High School League. But yeah, absolutely. If you got the ball and the books, you got to find that total package. And Michael Dennison found it. Hopefully some more of these guys will find their way. Isaac playing at the JUCO level. I think we'll see. We'll hear from him again. He's got the mentality to grind at the JUCO level and get where he wants to go. But let's get into the superlatives.
Before you transition, I didn't get to talk about my guy, man. I didn't get to talk about Caden Turner, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to beat me up because he's always over my house. It's like he's become
Go for it. Get in there.
No,
get in there.
But actually,
him and what army are going to beat you up, Will?
Right. Him, Eli, and my younger son, who's now like 6'1".
Yeah. Good dude, him.
But Caden Turner, like he's turned it on this summer. Like he's really like unlocked a lot more athleticism. He's played really good basketball, and I think like come this winter, you guys are gonna be like, that's Caden. He's really turned it up like a notch. So I think that that sting of that loss in the championship game really has like turned the corner, and he's been working out with Riles actually.
Oh,
get some game from Riles. Riles style. Yep. So
that dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah, him and Dior are out there working every morning now. So I just wanted to give some love to my dude before he comes in later on tonight and like, hey, you ain't talking about me, man.
Yeah, and I'll show him some love as the neighbor kid, which it's getting to be. Gosh, there's so many kids living in my neighborhood now that I know from covering them in high school. It's kind of getting awkward. But Caden, one thing I've seen from him over the last couple of years is, I think a year or two ago you would say, well, he just needs to go hard more consistently. He sometimes took plays off or just kind of had lapses where he kind of wasn't in it. And some of that comes with just age and maturity. But I definitely saw more from him this year as far as being on more closer to all the time, being more consistent with his effort. And it sounds like he's made more strides in that department, which I think was really the not holding him back. He's been a good player, but that was the only thing that I saw was there were times where the effort wasn't maxed out, and you could imagine what it would look like if it always was. And so hopefully we see a little bit more of that this year, but it sounds like he's on the right path.
I think he will. Yeah,
I say that out of love. I say that out of love for him, as a constructive criticism.
Oh, his family will tell him. His family will tell him. They'll make sure he knows.
Yeah.
100%. Wells will let him know, man. Like at the end of the first time I saw Caden, I've seen him a bunch, but the first time I saw him train, we were at Hilton Head Christian, and he was doing a one-on-one with their head coach, Jason Grunkemeyer. And effectively, my daughter was going to train with Jason afterwards, so we were sitting in the stands. And I think they were doing I don't remember exactly what they were doing, but it was hard and it was physical. And at the end of the practice, like, Caden went and threw up. And he went and threw up, and he came back, and he was, he won't love this, so he can get after me. But he was basically had tears in his eyes and stuff. And that was the first year at Christian. Was more like, hey, getting like, what is this? How hard do I actually have to go for this to be a thing? And he had never seen it, right? So he just has been getting by off of whatever. So I think he's embraced that a little more. And since that day, that first year, he was regarded as being not particularly active defensively, and that's changed. You just, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, that's what development is. So like a guy like Caden, man, he's getting better by the day, and he's got a high ceiling. So I'm glad, he's just a kid that he keeps coming and he keeps putting on and travel too, So that's a good thing. So
looking forward to seeing him this season, but we still got some more honorees that we got to get to, the biggest ones of the bunch. So the girls' superlatives: our coach of the year, Bobby Thompson at Hilton Head Christian, kept the dynasty going. Our player of the year, Maya Hutchinson from Hilton Head Christian, and our Alex Sherrill Memorial Heart and Hustle Award. If you don't remember, Alex Sherrill was a student athlete at Colleton County High School who was killed in a car accident a couple years back, played basketball at USC Salkehatchie, and we coveted or created this award to honor him, the Heart and Hustle Award. Kind of that player that maybe the stats don't necessarily reflect their value, but they go above and beyond and make those hustle plays. And we're kind of like a first teamer in our mind, despite not having the numbers. And Jelena Mosley from Bluffton is our girls honoree. So I turn it to you, fellas.
That's a good pick for Heart and Hustle, man. And then, what can you say about Maya? Like, she's buckets. That's all, you just buckets. That's it, and then Bobby, not, sometimes it's harder to, come.
It was a tenuous situation.
Yeah.
It was a tenuous
situation where it's just win, and then be able to manage that and still get the victory, man.
And to have the roster that you did with so many strong talents and be able to, get them into their roles. And when you have players that want to find ways to shine on the court and kind of say, this is what we need you to do. And in some instances like Morgan Scott and Devin Yard and put them in the best spots to win, that can be very challenging at times, but I think he did a good job. It's a really tough situation when you have so much talent on that one team. And I think, he positioned his players well. Obviously, Tamaya was large and in charge for most of that. When they need the basket, the ball was in Tamaya Hutchinson's hands. She was electric on the court, can shoot from distance, and absolutely with that electric athleticism to get to the rim and score on any defender. And, she just always brought that extra level of excitement, whether it was a big three-pointer or whether it was even some of the plays she made, finding the open shooter, finding the open man, and then, the effort on defense was also there, and just her ability to come up with steals and succeed with fast break. She really did it all, and an explosive player that, I think has got a very bright future when you look at beyond her high school career. So, and another one I believe that got offered by Versa at USCB. with.
No, I think Rob said she has not yet.
Not yet. All right, so
I don't believe she will be, but USCB.
Yeah, just a little too chaotic for the system.
I think it's a
Perhaps.
Midwest. Well, I think the Maya thing is like Devin and really Trent at this point, is that they all are on the cusp. Like Maya's got a D1 offer, so like she doesn't care about USCB. But the reality of it is that the USCB coach doesn't care about her.
Right.
And I don't say that in any kind of like spiteful anything. Like systems
just not
matter,
a good fit.
man.
It's just a contrast of styles.
Yeah, like she loves Devin, right? She loves Devin and she loves Courtney, and I get why. And I get why they're better for her system than Maya would be. Maya's Allen Iverson of the Lowcountry. Yeah. And so the thing about her is, and it's
you're talking about
like,
practice.
She is a kid who's so dynamic athletically. I mean, she's probably like inch for inch, maybe the best rebounding guard in the country. She's athletic as all get out. She is dynamic passer in the open court. She can bucket on you at will. The big thing with her though is everything revolves around her. Because like you have to put people around her that make sense for what she does, because she impacts everything. So there's never anything but love for her, because there's very few people who can touch that many aspects of the game like every second on the court. It's literally disgusting how many things she does to help your team. But at the same time,
she's disruptive.
She's disruptive because she doesn't fit into like a ball screen system, a catch and shoot system.
She's almost got to play in like a 40 minutes of hell type of situation.
Yeah, even impresses like you're like, well, what are you doing? She gets a steal, and you're like, oh, okay, that works.
she straight thrives off of chaos, passing lanes, all that sort of stuff. So she needs that kind of environment that's like, you know what? We're not as worried about our system. We're going to get more concerned with the fact that there's only so many elite bucket getters in the world. Mm-hmm. Right? So once you come back to the fact that, you know what, screw it, I'm going to get an elite bucket getter, that's when Maya has her value. And she's as good as they come in that regard. And she's been nothing but gold for our program. And she's a wonderful kid. And she's still humble as all get out. And you know what? She's going to play D1 ball, and she's got more stuff coming down the road. So, like, you know, nothing but love. She's a fantastic kid, and she's done nothing but show well for the area, not only locally, but really 100% on a national stage. I mean, that kid's been viral for 2 weeks. She probably has close to 1 million views right now, just off of the Run for the Roses tournament 2 weekends ago.
The game winner. Call game.
No.
It's where she crossed. It's where. It's where the two kids got broke and went. It just got picked up by Ball Is Life today. It's going crazy.
You got to remember highlight culture now.
But you got to remember highlight culture. But like the thing about it that's crazy is that everyone keeps picking it up. So like that's the great thing about highlight culture, because that's now you'll dive in and want to see more of that kid. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Yeah. So like there's pros and cons to it. Like for me, so we do something called Field Level, which is essentially like a social media network for coaches, for program directors, for high schools, for whatever. But like the actual timeline will be colleges saying, hey, we need a 2022 or a 2024 or 2023 face up forward, needs to be aggressive on the glass, needs to be able to turn over either shoulder. Like they do that stuff. So I can recommend our kids in those scenarios. But ever since Maya went viral, like the number of profile views she has, even on like a field level, is absolutely absurd just from coaches.
Sometimes it just takes one play. I mean,
it's like
one offer, the right offer, and you're good to go, man.
Monkey see, monkey do. It's a
she's a willing foil too, which I love. Like, you know, like I'm that like wild, like off the cuff marketing guy, and I'll throw whatever out there I need to throw out there. And she's just like, she just keeps giving me miraculously over the top content. You know what I mean?
Bring me all the smoke.
So it's like, so it is what it is. And you know, she's a D1 kid. That's what it is. When people truly decide that we need buckets, It's not, oh, we're going to go with that prototype 6-foot point guard, or we need, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's got this like mythological figure in their head to run their show or do this, that, and the other. At some point, people kind of step back and go, you know what? Maybe we just need the kid down the street who scored 2,900 points. Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So like
maybe if we had another 20 points a game, we might win.
Yeah. So like Hutchinson's going to be just fine, man. She's like an urban legend.
Scoring never goes out of style. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's move on and honor the boys' superlatives here, fellas. And we got another state championship coach, Richard Barron at Hilton Head Prep. There were some bumpy times early on, but they saw it through. They trusted the process and got that state title. The player of the year, I think, hands down this year, Sean Cusano. He put up the numbers despite playing in a system that slowed it down and tried to keep it in the 40s and 50s. He was still putting up double doubles. And then Heart and Hustle Award, I think this one was an easy one for us, Wes. Nobody fits the bill better than Braden Deneen at Buford Academy. He's that guy who you look at him before the game and you're like, not thinking anything about that guy. And then he comes out and he's the guy carrying the team on his back, doing everything and just goes so hard in whatever he's doing, football field, basketball court, soccer field, baseball field, whatever. No qualms about honoring this trio.
An exemplary athlete, Braden Deneen. I mean, it's been really fun to cover him. He always showed such an excellent brand of leadership, especially in the football field. But it translated well to basketball because that vision to spot the open shooter, the open man, and then that extra hustle to get to those loose balls and to set things up for his offense, and then going back on defense and just locking down his matchup over there, and just all those little things add up to a team that I thought had another very strong year, and I think Deneen was a big piece of that. And you look at someone who has that kind of hustle when he gets on the court and just provides so much more than what you see in a typical box score. And he was definitely putting up some numbers when you look at steals, rebounds, more than you think with someone with a build like that. He just wills himself to making big plays on the court, and we saw it as well on the football field through his spectacular career, which unfortunately ended short of a state title. But just a great guy to interview, a great guy to be a teammate of out there, and just cannot say enough about the way he led himself and the way he led that entire group, and just someone who will be sorely missed in a number of different ways for that BA program. So all my kudos and my respect to Braden, an outstanding career. Then I think Sean Cusano, he's a slam dunk pick this year for the boys player of the year. The way you mentioned how Hilton Head Prep ran that offense, especially when you look what they did in the postseason, slowing it down, that motion style, probing, and then when you have that open cutter, finding him the ball, and a lot of times it's Sean who gets open, cuts to the rim, and puts it through the hole, and such a on a basis which looks so effortlessly. I mean, he does a good job of seeing the court, knowing where he needs to get to, and then he's just a matchup problem for most guys around here. With that height, and that skill, and that size, it's just really hard to stop him. He's an excellent rebounder, 10.9 boards a game, 21.6 points, even in that kind of offensive setup. I mean, that is some tremendous accomplishments. Just what he did on a nightly basis, but then when you look at what he did outside the box score, the leadership, and just the overall character that he brought to this team, being here for his second season, being a part of JJA's, I think he made a big influence when he was there. And I think just Cusano stepped it up in his senior year, was that go-to player, but in the same sense, he was a team player where he was able to get the ball out to the open man and provide that kind of, that pillar, that leadership that rubbed off the right way on the other guys. So Sean Cusano, an exceptional young man, and just a great guy to talk to. And, he's always very courteous, always friendly guy at before or after games, at interviews, and just really excited because I think he has a chance for some big things over at Chattanooga.
Yeah, I think Casano he's a ball player, man. It's like you're like, how do you stop this guy? Like inside out, he can shoot, he can dribble, he can see the floor, he can rebound. He's a really good player. When I first saw him, to be honest, I was like, he's probably gonna be big and slow. He's not slow. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He's everything you probably want in a basketball player if you're recruiting somebody. So yeah, hats off to Sean. He definitely deserved it. His dad's pretty chill as well. I got to talk to him a couple of times. He's real cool. So he comes from a good family and everything like that. Coach Richard Barron, talk about somebody who endured a lot of stuff, because I was hearing chatter around too, and he trusted his own process and he delivered for him, even when, people were like, they're not putting up the numbers that they should be putting up and everything like that. And he's kind of like, hey, I'm the coach, not the Monday morning quarterback.
Especially following a legend in Jerry Faulkner and all the accolades he earned.
So that had to be tough, and he buried through it. They played it, and what a lot of people just didn't understand is that that schedule at the beginning of the year when they were 7-7 was they played a monster schedule. They played Johnson from Savannah. They played St. Andrews, who was a state championship. I think Johnson was a Final Four team. They played, the runners up in Hilton Head Christian. I mean, they had a difficult schedule, but people just couldn't see it. And I guess, he had the vision to see through it. So hats off to him. He deserved it as well.
I mean, I think those guys,
ahead,
man, I mean, at the end of the day, okay, so if you look at the two coaches of the year, they're I think that gets to be sort of an interesting proposition in terms of how you choose coaches of the year, right? So these two,
man, I had a hell of a time with it. I'll tell you.
I'm not dogging you, my friend. I'm saying simply is these guys had war chests when they took the job, right? So in that way, it's difficult because
it is.
We were all at the Hilton Head Christian game where half of the prep fans wanted Barron's head. There were certain members of the prestigious prep community with kids on the team who were coming over the court at the end of the game to get to Barron, right? They had to insulate his wife at one point in that game, right? So the thing is that his system, he runs the Princeton. The Princeton you don't teach to predominantly, but you know what? They start to pick it up a little bit. Maybe halfway through the year, and then you start to see it versus Christian the second time, where it was they're beating them on back doors now, and they're making the extra pass, and all of a sudden it started to look like the print. So they started to buy in, and there's no doubt that Barron's a smart guy and the system is wonderful. But here's the thing about coaches of the year: I don't know. I always wonder if you give it to them because they win stuff, or if you give it to them because they did the best job with their talent. Right.
Yeah.
I think these two did the best job, honestly.
I love this discussion.
Yeah.
Because it's something that philosophically is interesting to me, and it always has been.
And I think
for me, philosophically, typically, I give it to the person who exceeded expectations.
Yep.
And in both of these cases, I can't make that argument because both of them had such high expectations. It was almost impossible for them to exceed them. They could only meet them because they were expected to win a state championship. So this is a special case. It really is. For me, this is a little both of these are a little different because of the circumstances. I wouldn't ordinarily give the award to the Hilton Head Christian coach, or in this case, the Hilton Head Prep Boys coach, because they did what they were supposed to do. You want a cookie? It's the old Chris Rock bit, right? You want a cookie, but you did what you were supposed to do. But I think in this case, Bobby was in a tough situation.
Bobby was literally in a terrible situation.
He was in a terrible situation, and so was Barron. I mean, you just described the terrible situation that he was in at midseason. Yeah, and both of those guys were able to keep it together, keep the train on the tracks, and get it to its destination.
Right.
And in my mind, in both of these cases, that was an uphill climb. That was a difficult job. And, we can be critical of how they did things along the way at times, but they got it where it was going. And that was a tough job this year.
I think Christian girls, that's a roll the ball out, right? Like,
yeah,
like at the end of the day, they're 20.
But they asked him back, right? Like that.
You're still managing. You're managing.
What do you mean ask him back, dude? What are you gonna do?
Ask him back.
But you managed to feed the mouths well enough that you're coming back, and that doesn't always happen.
People who want to score, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to keep, you got Devin, you have Maya, you have Jada. I mean, you have people who are looking to shoot. You got to keep all of them happy. You got to figure out a way to make sure they share the ball. Like, all that goes into it with Bobby. And I'm sure the same. I mean, and with Barron, like, it's like, okay, you have the absolute best.
Man. Literally, that team rolled it out with kids who were so much better than everyone else that they just were going to win no matter what. Prep, on the other hand, anyway, the point of the matter is that at the end of the day, I just find it an interesting thing. Like, don't get me wrong. The other side of it is this: public school coaches, they take like this criticism from the barber shop at large, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But like private school coaches, they get sit downs. Yeah. Nobody's sitting down at public schools.
Right.
They don't even feel like they're allowed to talk to the coach, half these parents.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
because it's like part of it. Private school, it's like we pay.
It's a different dynamic.
You'll be there at 3 because I got to talk about my kid. Exactly. Right. So that's what makes it so much more difficult in that scenario. So I appreciate that. I just think Bobby rolled it out and let it happen. And that's a good thing because that's the kind of talent he had.
Sometimes it's best not to just do something.
Yeah, just stay out of the way.
Stay out of the way and not roll, not. And
well, I'll tell you what.
So we're going
to see what he's got coaching the next several years, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're going to see what actually the X's and O's look like. Because it all goes away after this year. So
and there's no rollover minutes. There's no rollover minutes.
No, there's no rollover minutes. So it all goes away after this year. What I will say
no reclasses, huh? No reclasses.
But here's what I'm going to talk about. This though, is Barron coming back?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I think
that's what I said about Bobby. I mean, but Barron.
Bobby was never going anywhere, man. The only way Bobby was leaving is if he hated all of us so much that he quit, right? like you know what I mean? Like, this isn't for me. But he wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't going to get fired by Drunkemeyer. You know what I mean?
It could have been a total disaster. It could have been a total disaster.
Yeah, it could have been.
And it wasn't.
It was a total disaster because the program's over. Right? They have one more year.
That means it's not over, Rob. That means it's not over.
It's not over yet. It's still got another year to right the ship. But we'll save that for another season of the Lowcountry.
It's over, friends.
How about that? How about that?
It's over.
That's a great cliffhanger for the next season of the Lowco Hoops Report, fellas.
No, they'll get one this year, though. And God bless, because Maya, Devin, and Morgan are the best in the area, baby.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thanks so much, fellas, for jumping on to finally put a much overdue bow on the 22-23 hoop season by honoring the best of the best and here in the Lowco. It's been fun with you guys, and we'll definitely have to catch up soon and talk more about when the AAU season wraps. Talk about everything that happened and all the movers and shakers, and we'll start laying the foundation for another season of high school hoops here in the Lowco coming up this winter. So thanks a lot, fellas. Enjoyed it. Anything to say? Any parting thoughts?
Wes?
Any parting thoughts?
Yeah.
Live. Yeah, man. It's just about live period now for these kids. Like a lot of the best kids that you guys have mentioned. Some of the boys are done their AAU season. The girls are coming up on their last go round. The 24s, which have been on the girls' side at least, have been so miraculous for the area. So it's just sort of one of those things where I think that I'm super looking forward to seeing how this all plays out with regards to offers. Because there's a lot of kids that you guys have mentioned on those first two teams, right? That are legitimate college prospects.
Legit.
So let's see. Yeah. So that's what needs to play out now. Like if that's the one thing that we haven't. a lot of our kids in the past have they've been a last case scenario because they snuck through the cracks, and it's like, oh, I'm in May and I'm looking for a kid to fill out the roster. And I think now we're on the front end of that cycle. So we've got 25s in our program that are offered now and things of that nature. And our 27s are nuclear strong. So when
we're
you
starting to get ahead of it, we've been behind.
We're starting to get ahead of it,
and a lot of that is
so gorgeous,
considered for local sports, man, for doing this to help people get ahead of it. Put the kids out there, put the kids' names out there, so people can see interest or can go to their Instagram or Twitter and see what they did on the field or on the court or something like that.
And I think it means a lot to those kids when they see their names on social media in an article on these shows. It motivates them, and for those conversely who didn't make the list, it motivates them to go back to the gym and get even better. So I think it provides what we do here for our All-Lowco teams is it kind of gives us a chance to look back to recognize the best of the best and kind of see where we stack up as a group here in the Lowcountry, and give the kids. I mean, this is stuff they can put out there on quote unquote resume. I mean, it's great to hear them earn these accolades, earn this recognition just from our area to kind of look at, this is what I did this year, this is what I accomplished. And as I mentioned, these kids love to have their names out here in our content, and that's why we love doing it. We love to shine a light on our student athletes here in the Lowcountry. Love how much we've grown over these last few years to expand to Colleton, Hampton County, and we'll see where it goes from here. But I think we have the opportunity to expand it further down the road. So, and I mean, just look at what Patrick Henry Academy, look at what Estill, look at Wade Hampton, all these communities have been so embracing what we've been doing, and those kids just love having the coverage. And in a media market where sometimes they haven't gotten that coverage before, it's just so important for them to have that light shine.
Yeah, and I mean that's a big part of what we're trying to do. I mean, if you have my permission, chop up the parts where we talk about you and say good things, throw your highlights over them, throw them on social media, tag us, drop the link to the full show. We can go viral from here too. We don't have to wait for somebody else to pick it up. We can take it into our own hands. You can take it into your own hands, and let's get this content out there and let people know we got players down here ready to go to the next level, and more coming. So
I want to spit on that, man, because you just said it all, and this is honestly 80% of what I do on the travel side. It's consulting, and the consulting always comes back to, okay, I have this very niche expertise, but why would someone who's trying to put food on the table and doing all this, who hasn't been in the industry, have any idea about any of this? They shouldn't. They wouldn't. Yeah. Right? They have no idea. And so, at the end of the day, if I could say anything to all these kids out there, boys, girls that are aspiring college athletes, that is to, whether or not you're an insular, sort of shy kid, or whether you're outgoing and, wants the world to know about you. The key here is it's a different era, and you have to have impressions. You have to go out there. You have to market yourself. You have to treat yourself as a brand. NIL exists. You have to look at that from, 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade on. Deliver. If we talk great about you on the podcast, figure out a way to cut that up and add that as a quote to your resume. Bring in the physical highlights. Make sure that, all your buckets are filled everywhere. Tag in the right people.
Ask people to do interviews, all
that's
that,
it.
Man.
Tell us you want to come on the show. Hit us up, man. We love getting student athletes on the show. Let you shine your light. Let you tell your story. Show your personality. Yes.
Yeah, be your biggest advocate. Go to war for yourself.
Nobody else is going to do it for you.
No,
you got to do it.
And you still have all these kids who are uber talented, but they don't have the reps of other kids just because they're not as active. And that's sad. That's sort of sad in an era where, for me, who grew up without all of this stuff because I'm ancient and wrinkly, but the gist of it is that that used to be a kill or be killed scenario. It's not like that anymore.
Right.
It's like, how popular are you? How good are you while being popular? How, like, there's a billion ways to skin a cat now, but like, research that and do that. If this is what you want.
Yes, the athletes, you have to do it, man. Like you
That's
like
it.
you got to put yourselves out there, man. I agree 100%, Robbie.
Like your own self. You can't count on be like, oh, we still have kids who are like, they're going to come to me. They're going to come to me. And it's like, no. And this is the God's honest truth, guys. I tell all the kids
on my ball club too. Like there's still kids that are like that. Like they're like
they might come to you, but only if you get their attention first. I mean, there's too many out there just like you.
I'm going to be like straight honest right now. We have on our 24 team, which is fairly lauded and has a bunch of kids who are going to play at the next level. A couple D1 kids, maybe up to 3 or 4. But the gist of it is this. There are kids on the back end of the roster getting more looks than the front end of the roster because the back end of the roster goes on every college website and fills out the recruiting questionnaire. And then writes them a nice letter through our field level, through, just finding their email addresses, says, hey, I'm really interested in your school. I think I'm a fit both academically and athletically. Here's my resume athletically. You can check it out. Here's a video, this, that, and the other. Academically, if you're so advanced as to think that you already know what your major is going to be. Oh, I'm into, whatever.
I love your nursing program. I love your
nursing program.
Cybersecurity program, whatever.
We have a kid on our team who's 6'1", and she is a wonderful kid and is a gym rat and goes incredibly hard. But she's never really been too much more of anything than a role player for either us or her high school. But she has a very high ceiling. She goes incredibly hard, but she has a massive GPA, and she knows exactly what she wants to do. She wants to go into forensic science. She's picked schools out and has come up with a very tight circle of schools that make sense for her forensic science wants, and she goes to them with it. And I swear to gosh, man, we have more interaction and more contact for a kid who maybe on the season gets 1/50th of Maya's,
That's fantastic. Points. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Well, you're just narrowing your focus. I mean, that's all you're doing is that. And I tell kids all the time, there's a place for you where you can play, but we have to figure out if there's a place where you can play that matches your priorities. Yeah. And maybe there isn't, maybe there isn't, but that's how you narrow it down. You reverse engineer it and you go, okay, what level can I realistically play at? What are the best academic schools at that level that have this major that I want to study? And
how far
there might only be 10 or 12, and that's a lot more manageable task than 200 or 300.
For sure. And then they turn it around and go, hey, I got 12 schools. Well, okay, now I've got 36 to 44 coaches now that I have to interact with on your behalf. That I have to hit up, but then it narrows it down for those who are in your corner to go to war
and you
for
can
you.
Stay on top of that and develop a relationship with those coaches. Whereas if you're trying to,
even if you don't know what you want to do,
wide net, you can't do that.
Well, I want to say, even if you don't know what you want to study, like that's still not an issue. You just put it on the app, like when you're talking to them, like, I don't know what I want to do. I have interest in X, Y, Z. And your school offers X, Y, Z, and I think I can find my way in that school. Like, there's always ways around it. So don't think just because you don't know what you want to do.
For sure. I mean, you can go in undeclared and take 2 years of gen ed and then pick too. Gosh, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't need to.
Put that out there. I don't want the kids.
If you got it figured out, great. But if you don't, that's okay too.
But it's like anything, right? So like, as much as it would be, okay, I'm interested in this as a major, you could be like, well, here's the thing. I'm a strong family person, and I've got, this many members of my family, and I'm not trying to get more than 100 miles away from home, right? So like, you make sense for me because you have curriculum that makes sense. I think I can help you out, and I'm not going to leave. I'm going to be there for you, right? So like, that's the thing. More kids need to understand that this is sales. That's what this is. This is sales. Everyone's out there. They're literally out there all the time pushing themselves. parents run half these accounts. At some point, that gets creepy because you can notice who the parents are running the accounts at a certain age.
It's usually transparent, and it's not great.
It's not great. At a certain age, you get after middle school, let your kids run their accounts. You can monitor, you can do whatever if that's who you are. But like at the end of the day,
get a template, whatever. But
just be proactive. Yeah. Get content out. Make sure it's being delivered at the feet of the people you want it delivered to, and delivered in a manner that they want to process it in. Like, you don't send them a mixtape of you crossing people up and then fall. So like Maya went absolutely viral, and is still going viral based off of this crazy where 2 kids fall. That's very nouveau, right? That's this generation. Right. Now she kicked the pass out, and Devin hit the 3-pointer, so it works out as a play. But half those plays of this generation, the kid just breaks someone, and then there's no bucket.
And there's no bucket.
There's like an air ball and a miss.
And guess what? You ain't gonna break anyone in D1 like that. So.
So like all that stuff's really cute, but that's not what they want to see. So whenever I put tapes together, right, and this is also funny about kids too, like translatable video, stuff that coaches want to see. For example, like when you're putting a video together, make sure if you're a 3-level scorer, show all 3 levels. If you can handle that, make sure you can show you handle. If you pass, make sure you show you
5 of the same play.
Show me you getting on the floor. Show me you getting on the floor and getting fiery. Show me
a hustle
you
play.
in
Absolutely.
show me you in man, like literally in someone's grill. But like,
show me you picking up a teammate. You know, I mean, little things matter too.
Yes, man. Like, even cheering on the bench for your the last person. On
what are the things that will set you apart as a player?
That's it.
It's just any of that. You know, just don't try to copy Ball is Life or OTE. Like, that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? We're you're not
auditioning. You're not auditioning for the And One mixtape tour. You're auditioning to play college basketball.
And that stuff gets really funny too, man. Because like if you look at it, like I said, Maya's going viral now. But 2 years ago, I had a clip when she first came to the program where she literally dropped Canoe Barnwell, like dropped her, and dropped her and points at her as she falls. And then she hits the 3, right? But I had to sit on it. I'm still sitting on it to this day because Canoe's my girl too, right? But like at the end of the day, that stuff goes viral and it's super cool, but that doesn't sway coaches.
Yeah.
They don't care. It's cool for like your friends who go, "Oh, tough."
Yeah, we had a kid dunk on a 7-footer, this weekend, and it's like, but that's not like it's a great.
I mean, drop that in the middle, sure, but that's not the meat and
potatoes.
That's not the meat and potatoes.
Show the rest of the game. So that's all we're saying, man.
Well, factor,
man. Make it well-rounded, just like your resume in school, just like anything in life. Make it well-rounded.
You're tailoring it to your strengths and what would be most important for your role. So, like anything, you're trying to
check as many boxes as you can.
That's it. Get it all in there.
All right, fellas. Well, we have certainly rambled on long enough, coming up on 100 minutes, but it was a good time and certainly enjoyed covering all these kids this season. And we will do a better job on timeline, getting this out in a timely manner next season. I've been working hard this summer on getting some organization in place so that we can be a little more streamlined going into 23-24. But definitely looking forward to hoop season, and it'll be here before we know it. We know football season goes by super fast, so we'll be talking hoops with you guys real soon. You'll be beating down our doors going, come on, we're ready to talk hoops, and we'll still be covering football. But we'll get to it in due time. But that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks so much to Wes Kerr, Will White, and Rob Benson for jumping on to help us honor all these All-Lowco basketball stars. We appreciate all of everyone who jumped on to listen and watch with us, as well as all of our sponsors and all the kids that we cover, man. It's really a pleasure. It's our pleasure. You make it worthwhile. And to all those going on to the next level, whether it's for academics or athletics, it's been our greatest pleasure covering you for 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more years. And we can't wait to see what you do next. And definitely hit us up
guys.
when you're back in town. Look forward to seeing you. That's going to do it for tonight. Till next time, go Loco.
The Loco Sports Lowdown Podcast is a production of...
That's not the one. Go Loco.